Hello, my name is Willis, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the TF Cast.
Hey, Zach here, and the day is February 16th, 2022.
And I'm your host, Jacob Bases. Today with us, we are pleased to have artist, community leader, shop owner, Megan Hoogland, who is here to talk about the last couple of years of, just generally what's been going on at the shop and with you in your creative life and some of the other projects you're working with around town. Megan, tell us a little bit about what's been going on over at Mecca here recently.
Well, ever since we were shut down, we have our lobby locked, so we're by appointment only. And otherwise we have a full house. We have 8 artists and an apprentice, and we're as busy as ever.
Mm-hmm. Would you say, can you sum up some of the changes that have happened and what, if anything, is going to kind of just become a new normal for the industry, or at least at your shop?
I know that there's an artist shortage for some reason, which I can only account to more people getting tattooed more often. But yeah, a lot of shops went to appointment only. So walk-ins is kind of a dying thing.
Sure.
Well, did walk-ins used to make up a large chunk of the business, or was it mostly appointments?
No, it was a lot of walk-ins.
Oh, okay. So,
but with 8 artists in that building, it was a zoo. It was insane. People in and out constantly, and yeah, it was chaos.
So you just had to change that all up with the way things shut down and are now being restarted. But have you found a stability with the appointments format for it?
Yeah, our walk-in artists are booked out a couple of weeks now.
Okay.
So they don't have to worry about if they're going to work that day or not.
Yeah. That seems like it would give them stability too.
Yeah, I wish I would have done it a long time ago.
Well, you mentioned that demand had gone up. Is that just kind of an influx with more people generally wanting ink, or is that something to do with people having some more cash right now, or what's the deal?
I have no idea. I mean, the caliber of artists that we have at the shop is constantly raising. Everyone's getting better and better. So it could be that. I mean, we're not cheap, so maybe people have more money, or they just want quality work.
I know I think a lot of people in my life position or something came into some extra cash with the pandemic and the either unemployment or some kind of a stimulus for any being laid off. And I'm sure some of that went right to the tattoo shops, as art, like Jacob was saying.
Yeah, maybe it's hard. I feel working at the wine cafe, I'm right next to Cactus too. We have constant, you can just see people constantly in there too. So it makes me think that it's probably more. I mean, and we had another shop open in town here too. So I guess it is a little wild to me that we only had 2 in the first place, given the size of Mankato and that we have a college here. It seems like there would just be more. And
most college towns have 10.
Oh, really?
So we went from 2 to 3 really good shops. So I think that's maybe keeping other shops out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been like that forever, ever since I moved here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you opened up both of the shops, so I guess it is kind of, it is kind of just odd to me that it is that way, because even the one in St. Peter closed, didn't it? There used to be one in St. Peter.
No, I think it's still there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's still there. I just talked to one of their artists.
Oh, what is that place called?
Impulse.
Huh. Is it still on the main drag, just on right off the interstate?
I think so.
Oh, the things you're wrong about when you don't know.
It's okay.
Jacob was telling me you're involved in doing some stuff with ink too that's not specifically for tattoos, or is used by other tattooists. Can you give me a rundown on that? What are you doing with ink these days?
Okay. So last fall, I started to back off working for a while for personal reasons. And right when I did that, our 17 walnut trees dropped thousands of walnuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
because you can't mow. So I'm out there for hours a day picking up these balls, and I'm like, there's got to be a way to harvest these things. Like there's thousands. And so I started researching it, and you can make ink to paint with or do calligraphy with. And then you can also make medicine, which I did, which I haven't been sick all winter. So there's that. And then at the same time, I was on our trail taking pictures of the leaves when they fell, because you can't find good references of leaves ever. And then I was like, wait a minute, I should like do paintings of these photos with the ink I'm going to make. So
Sure. What this type of ink that you're creating now, when you found it, like where has it, is this like something that other people have used? Is it associated with a style? Where does it come from?
I don't know.
Oh,
how'd you find it? You just found
I just found it online, yeah.
How to distill black walnuts into ink.
Yeah, it's actually the hulls. So you take the hulls off, which is a huge process.
Yeah.
And then you boil them down to like super thick. And then you strain it. I had like this huge cauldron, and I just happened to fire it up on Halloween, and like it was a thing. So I have like 5 gallons of ink and then 2 gallons of that medicine I made.
Okay.
What is the process of getting the hulls off? Like, is that do you like agitate it or cut it or?
I tried a few different ways because they're so hard to get off. Like you can cut them off, but then you have to peel them off and your hands get sore. Some of them I soaked in water for a couple days until they got soft. And I bought this bit for like a super high powered drill to agitate them. And then I strained them, and like, yeah, I had a whole factory in my garage. I look like a crazy person.
Well, if you need more walnuts next year, I'm gonna have some every year. I got 1 tree, not 17 though. So.
17.
Oh man, is it gonna be a continuing project? Are you just gonna throw them in the trash next year, or is this gonna be the walnut factory?
They hadn't dropped for 4 years.
What?
Like the first time they dropped was when we moved in, the month after we moved in. So I didn't know it was a thing. Like we bought a house, and then all of a sudden we had like piles of these things that we had to deal with.
Yeah.
And then we just threw them. At this time we actually like use them for something. And some of them I dehydrated so I can make ink later.
Sure.
Wait,
how
so
far
I don't have to deal with it for another couple of years?
Yeah, I mean you'll get a couple, but like we haven't been getting hardly even close to as many as we got this last year.
Yeah, I filled up like a whole trash can with like black walnuts this year, just 1 tree nearly. It was a lot. Sore subject. All right, moving on.
How far does 5 gallons of black walnut ink go? Is that like
I don't know.
thousands of orders or?
No idea. I think the bottles I bought are like 8 ounces. So I'm not doing the math right now.
Sure. Yeah. No. Lots.
Yeah, a lot.
And can it be used for tattooing, or is that a no-go?
I don't know. It's more like a dye.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
I guess, I mean, you can tattoo with anything you want. Like someone tattooed with latex paint one time, which don't do that.
Yeah, that sounds maybe not the best.
Yeah.
Is there much variation in tattoo ink that you use in the shops or is it kind of like there's this one type that's used generally?
I use the same ink almost all the time, but all the artists use whatever brand they like. Right now there's like an ink, it's a pigment ban going on in Europe of 2 of pigments. So it's like a variation of green and blue, I think, which would wipe out almost all the colors. If that gets banned here.
Why are they banning it?
They're saying it's not safe.
Oh, it's like not safe to put in people.
Yeah.
How did they find that out?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean because
like there's no way to tell how much actually goes in your skin because most of it gets wiped off, and then your body absorbs some of it.
Sure. Yeah, and then it doesn't live in your blood. I'm sure it does. Like it's constantly being broken down by your white blood cells, or just destroying whatever you put in there ink-wise. Huh.
Yeah, and I haven't read the research on it just because I've been busy, but it's a big deal over there right now.
Yeah, I was curious. You mentioned you were doing some painting, especially with the ink that you were getting from the walnuts. Is that similar to the style that you do for tattooing, or are you kind of exploring a new area, or what's that like?
I haven't started painting with the ink yet. I've been like playing around with it to see what it looks like, and I'll probably like do black shading underneath it, and I don't know, maybe make some into some NFTs, but I have to look into that too.
Lot to be done.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Okay. Have you been doing some other painting then, or is that yeah, what's your history with painting outside of inking or art that's not specifically on someone's body?
I was doing watercolor portraits for a minute, but then most of it's been painting skulls.
Okay. Painting on a skull? Okay.
Some of that stuff that was in Project Bike, if you saw any of those videos, that was all Megan stuff. We videoed some of your work in Dana's.
Yeah, I'm totally familiar. That's very cool. They're like a big, this is a large skull of a large animal.
Yeah, bull skull.
Yeah, that was.
And then
really
there was, they were mostly bull skulls.
Okay.
They have more surface area. Deer skulls are really hard to paint on.
Just on account of their size, or does bone from different animals take some kind of different?
No, the way their skulls are made, there's more gaps, and like on a bull skull, it's like the top part's all just like not smooth, but there's a lot more surface area that's paintable.
Is that all found stuff? I always wonder when I see people who are working with animals, do they find it all, or do they like rescue this stuff from farms that are rendering these animals? How do you come into animal parts?
Some of it's found, some of it, like if Kelly's dad goes to Arizona, he'll grab me some from on the side of the road, or like friends of mine will just bring me skulls, or like now I've got a buffalo farm that I work with, but most of the skulls are just like thrown away. So
good to let them see a little bit of art and life after.
Yeah.
That's fun. That seems like a neat practice, taking an object like that. And how does the design process go with a canvas like a skull? Is it like a different way that you approach a project like that?
The first ones that I did, I would just draw the design on, and like it was kind of complicated, but like now that we have iPads, you can take a photo of the skull and then like overlay an image over it to see how it would look, and then just blow it up and like transfer it on there.
Sure. You can. Is it like a 3D scan type of thing then?
Kind of.
And it like conforms to it?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, sure.
The ones the first art show I did, like some of them were super intricate where I drew it all on by hand, like all the way around the whole skull. That took a while.
How is technology of tattooing or I guess art advanced? And you mentioned just even using an iPad to like see what it would look like with drawing on a skull, but how else has like the where technology has now affected your work as either a tattooist or an artist?
Well, this is going to make me sound super old, but when I started tattooing, we had a copier that couldn't enlarge or reduce images. And like, we didn't have a computer with internet in the shop to like Google search images because Google wasn't a thing yet.
Sure.
So all the images we did were either hand drawn or picked off the wall. It's called Flash. So like our walls were covered with designs. And now we have iPads with Procreate, where you can just draw on the iPad and pretty much do anything.
So has it has the impact been greater for artists or for people who are getting tattoos in their like experience?
Oh, artists for sure.
Artists.
Like I used to spend hours a night just tracing designs for the line work, where now I can just take the photo and stick it in an app and have the line work done right away.
That seems neat. I like Procreate for all the like layering and like tools and stuff. It's really neat.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely. I love Procreate just on account of like it works most of the time when I want it to do something. I just kind of like do the thing that I would expect to make the command happen, and it just does. It's like they made it for people who are just not know how to use Photoshop, but like also extremely presumptuous. It's just like a really nice tool in that way.
Yeah, because I never learned Photoshop. Like I'd have Kelly Bundy do all my like computer stuff for me for the longest time, and then I had Kelsey. Now I have Maddie. But I also have Procreate. So
the Procreate actually released something for 3D stuff too. So I've seen people do versions of like drawing in 3D space on an object. So you can like draw on a can, or if you could scan in the skull and then you could draw on it which could be interesting. I've seen some cool versions of that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't messed with anything except for like just the flat stuff on Procreate. But like, I don't know, I've even seen you doing some of the stuff with like onion skins and like
Little
doing animations.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like that program's awesome for the price.
Well, I really like what technology is doing to art. Like I think the copy paste function of art is a little cheesy if overused, but really like with the different 3D modeling technologies, or like animation stuff, or if you get into animation, you get into like generative like fluid dynamics or like cloth simulations. It's really wild what can be done. So even as like a 2D artist, it might be faster to like mock up a 3D thing and like drape a cloth over like a character and then like render it in 2D and then have like an image. Or you can like scan stuff, and it's really wild what you can do. And so as like an artist or creator or business who's working in those kinds of areas, it seems like you just have to find the tools that you like working with and then like figure out how they can apply to your thing.
I'm sure the walk-in artists really like it too. You know, like I can't imagine having to resize the 10,000th nautical star by hand. It feels like, but you know,
it was so bad. Not only that, but some of the stencils, like for a while we had to hand draw them. So not only would you have to trace that outline, but you'd have to like retrace it onto the stencil paper. And like if that stencil got ruined, you had to redraw the whole thing again.
Sure. Oh, I suppose that it didn't just always print the transfer paper, like it had to be manually drawn upon.
Right.
Was that like a carbon copy kind of thing?
Uh-huh.
Huh. Yeah. I just imagine that now with these tools, like you're spending a whole lot more time doing, you know, the work that actually like has the tattoo gun in your hand instead of all of that other work that would previously be associated with it. Does that make for more high caliber artists in general? You know, people who are doing more of that, or is a lot of that that like prep work what ends up being transferable skills?
I think the whole industry as a whole has just changed, like personality wise and artwork wise and skill wise. Like when I started tattooing, everyone kind of sucked, like because no one was sharing information with each other. Like the tattoo machines haven't changed.
Sure.
But then my generation of tattoo artists started traveling and doing conventions and like sharing information and learning from each other. And it blew up. And then Miami Ink was on air. And like all of a sudden we went from like the degenerates of society to the celebrities. And it was like, it was wild because we were not that before.
Yeah. So you get to watch the impact of like pop TV shows kind of impact your industry as a whole.
Oh, 100%. Because it let people see what was happening inside a shop, and they weren't as afraid to come in and see what was going on. But we also had customers coming in as a walk-in asking for a sleeve.
Oh,
because like in TV time, it was done in a day. Like, yeah, why not?
What was it overall when you mentioned Miami Ink? Was that like a positive representation of it for you? Did you look at that and like see a lot of the things that you were familiar with, or did you have to adapt to it? Or
no, I it was my friends that were on that show, and I feel like they did a good job at representing the way that it was supposed to be until it wasn't, and then they got the show shut down. And then it morphed into like what tattoo shows are now, which is kind of a little circusy.
Yeah, there's a lot of different. I don't really watch any of them.
More like reality TV show or something. Then I haven't seen them actually.
Or Ink Master, where it's a competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that one where the couples get to get each other tattoos, like they're like broken up people, and they're just like put awful things on each other's body, and they're surprised when it happens. Like no, I wouldn't invite my ex to put it. Like even if I was on good terms with them, I wouldn't be like, hey, you just pick it and throw it on there. Like yeah, it's gonna be a toilet. What did you expect, dude? I don't even know what that one's called either. I just seen it.
It's like quirky reality TV show version of it.
I think it's from Australia.
Oh,
I've seen what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the name, but I can't.
It's
but there's some horrible things.
We all have to get cover-ups, okay?
Yeah, that's actually something I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot more people, and maybe it's just because of like where like the wine cafe being next to Cactus, people that come in and sit like before their appointments or after, and they'll talk about it. And like I didn't realize how like I thought like cover-ups were like kind of like a last ditch effort on something, and then I just realized that if you just have tattoos, like eventually you have to get a cover-up, like just on account of something happening or it looks bad later.
Well, you don't have to now. Like blast overs is a thing.
What is it?
Because cover-ups, like the goal is to completely cover what you have. But blast overs like are taking designs and just going over whatever you have darker, where the old tattoo you can see through it. It comes through.
And what does that do? Like
it gives us this weird effect where like you can obviously see what the new design is, but there's like a texture underneath it, kind of sometimes different colors or different lines, or like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Oh, I guess I'm trying to like, what is your average blast over customer shopping for? Like they want it to be less visible but still present.
They don't want to go through the work of lasering it to lighten it to make it a successful cover up.
Oh,
they just want to cover what they have.
Sure. Yeah, I've heard lasering is like almost as bad or worse than getting tattooed in the first place.
It sucks.
Yeah. Your shop has a laser now, right? You do lasering and microblading. Is that
Samantha actually started her own space.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Microblading is out.
I want to talk about it. I'll start crying because she's gone.
Oh, okay. We don't have to. But oh yeah, sure.
No, she's great. Samantha's great. Yeah. So we turned her room into like a photo booth. So we have like a photo light and we can take better pictures.
Oh, for like reference material and stuff like that.
And naps.
Oh, yeah. Photos of naps. Everyone needs those. If I could just come in there for some nap shots, I would be really appreciative. I've got to put that together for my headshots. Sleepy time. You wanna move over to talking about MWAC a little bit?
Sure.
If that's a what's been up?
Nothing.
Like it's been on. Okay, I actually fail to understand the scope of what MWAC does. Like I kind of thought for a while it was like a governing body at the makerspace, but then I realized I don't think that's exactly right. Like if you were to have to explain it shortly to some people, like what's the broad picture of MWAC?
I'll start with how it started because that might help explain it better. Because it started with Edgar being diagnosed with cancer, like stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So they had a benefit for him that turned into like a huge party. And then the next year he was still around and he wanted to do it again, but donate the money.
Sure.
So that's how it started, was basically just have a big party in the middle of winter because he hated winter. And then, so we started donating to local art and music programs because he claims that it was art and music that helped him live as long as he did, because he was actually able to beat like cancer basically for 10 years before he passed.
Sure.
And they had given him a very short life sentence.
Yeah, when he first came down, we just had Chuck on a little bit ago, and he talked about that situation, and like, you know, being up in Rochester with Edgar, and some things like that. But going forward from there, like, what is the continuing? Is it you know, kind of like carrying that torch forward, and how does the money get allocated and to where?
Usually we do the post-holiday extravaganza sometime during the winter, which is like a big art raffle, silent auction, and then a bunch of shows with local bands. And we usually do it at a local venue and then Nikado. And then once that's over, we usually find one organization to donate half of it to, which was a makerspace for a few years. And then we'll support like local art teachers, or like we donate to the Lancers, to kids, like for a scholarship to kids that can't afford to participate. And just a bunch of, like, it's changed every single year.
So is the organization then most of the activity like putting on that event? Okay.
Yeah, so we were scheduled to have that, I think it was like a week or two before everything shut down.
Oh,
Like we were in the process of like gearing up to do it and collecting art. And yeah, it's been on hold ever since because we're too afraid to hold an event in public.
So is Edgar Fest a completely different thing? Okay. I thought it was like taking the place of the extravaganza. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, MWAC's like an actual nonprofit.
Yep, I knew that. I just wasn't sure if like the actual name was like changing to Edgar Fest from the post-holiday extravaganza.
No, we're just going to make Chuck help us with the next one.
Perfect.
hear that, Chuck? You're on the hook.
Yeah. What so what's the vision? What's the future vision for MWAC then? Are you hoping to get back to doing events like you were? Or?
Yeah, I think we might talk about doing smaller events or collaborating with other like organizations in town.
Okay. There's some options.
So I was basically just wrong about the relationship with the makerspace.
Well, we were pretty tight with them because that's where our main event was being held for a few years.
Sure.
And we were giving them like a large amount of money because we were so supportive of them and what they're doing.
Yeah.
But like ever since COVID hit, like I haven't been down there. I'm just like, I'm quarantining as much as I can just because I don't want to get sick.
Yeah. Have you not caught it yet?
No.
Ooh.
You gotta take that medicine I made.
Yeah. It's yeah, no, hook me up. I could feel better all the time. So I'll take anything that's labeled medicine.
It's antiviral.
Yeah. Where did the medicine we talked about where you found the ink stuff, but how did you get the medicine inspiration? Like, is it just something you found? Or?
Yeah, it's called black walnut hull tincture, and I started researching it, and it's apparently it's antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic, and possibly can prevent cancer. Like it kills everything. So I've been taking it myself, and every time I start like to feel sick, I'll take some, and then I'm fine.
I have not heard of black. Is it just that black walnuts are hard to work with that people don't? I don't see these products out there a lot.
Oh, they suck.
Yeah.
But it's like I was like not working a lot, and I needed something to do that I could like work on for a little bit and walk away from if I had to, like on a split second. Like you can't do that with tattoo customers. Like if someone's in your chair, you can't be like, gotta go.
Yeah, totally. I feel that.
Be back.
I just listened to a lot of like murder podcasts and hung out with black walnuts for hours a day, and then
Yeah. So there are people who are probably like in similar situations, like cottage industry kind of thing, where people are doing the whole thing, but like, you know, there's no one factory farming walnut trees out there or anything like that.
There's like, I guess there's places you can drop them off to be processed.
Oh.
And like black walnuts, obviously you can eat them.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, they're
Well,
walnuts.
they're walnuts.
Oh, duh. They're the walnuts from the grocery store? No way.
No, those aren't.
Okay.
Well,
Black walnuts are like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to crack them to get the whole walnut out without breaking it.
It just
I
sounds
think
like a real
they're
bastard of a nut. Like
those ones, right? They're like the walnuts you'd get at the store, though, right? They're just a different family or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I guess I don't know what black walnuts look like. I know that they're pretty acidic and they can kind of like wreck your grass and stuff. So like a lot of people just don't like them in their yard because they make a big mess and
Yeah,
clean them up and-
nothing grows around them.
Yeah, I wonder if that has that's what I thought of when you mentioned that. They like were antibacterial and antiviral or something and that kill stuff. I wonder if it's just like an acidic property of the.
That's just the hull.
Oh, it's the hull. Okay.
The walnut
isn't
itself
the hull
is
the
like
part that is the acidic to your lawn, probably.
Yeah, and that's what I made the medicine from.
Mm.
I just soaked them in vodka for months, and then
So it's medicine that's also vodka. There you go.
well, that's how all tinctures work, right? Like tinctures are just made
you just take a dropper full.
Sure.
Do not take a shot.
A little too much of the medicine.
My drum set is black walnut, so a lot of people farm it for the wood.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've heard of the wood as being a nice one.
Yeah, I told Justin Burgo he has to make me frames for my paintings with black walnut.
Mm. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he when he was on here, he talked about his framing too. Yeah. What have we yet to cover? Where do we got to go?
Well, I think we've hit some of the main points. As far as I'm aware, I'm curious if there's anything else you'd like to talk about while we've got you on the show here, either projects you're involved in or anything you'd like to tell the people about.
Not that I can think of.
Sure,
that's okay too.
My whole life's been like children right now.
That's a thing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, then let's wrap and do plugs. Where can people find? We talked about so many things. Let's start with if someone wants to contact the shop or you through there, and then let's do if someone wants to find the ink or medicine, or if those things just aren't available or won't be, or just let people know.
So the ink, I'm actually gonna make labels and bottle it up by May, because I have a tattoo convention then, so I'm gonna sell a bunch of it there hopefully. So, but all you have to do is like send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll get it, because I've been selling the medicine that way.
Sure.
And then for the shop, it's super streamlined. You just have to email the shop at meccatattoo@gmail.com. Like you can call all you want, but like that's the best way to like be in contact with everybody, including me.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
And no, there's no reason people need to find MWAC like that.
We'll start plugging MWAC as soon as we gear up again, like on their Facebook page. So you can go to Facebook and like Midwest Art Catalyst.
Right on.
And then we have an Instagram page too. There's just not a lot going on there yet.
Awesome.
Once there is though, like we'll be posting every day.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure to talk with you and learn about your projects.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.